Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having us. Jack and I will be presenting on the role of accurate geospatial data in advertising in a post-cookie world. My name is Jaime Unger. I'm the Director of Account Management at Safegraph, and I have with me Jack Burton, who's the Product Director at Mobsta. By way of introduction, Safegraph is a places or point of interest data set. We provide a global places data set, a representation of the physical world, by providing details like address, latitude and longitude, categorization, website, building footprint, and other contextual attributes about individual places, whether that's a restaurant, hotel, park. Our data is a key foundational input for building a successful advertising strategy. The advertising ecosystem is quite complex. On every website or app that you use, there's a real-time bidding process happening behind the scenes to serve the most relevant ads to the best fitting consumers. Advertisers have products to promote, who then work through agencies to create content and perform campaign management. Agencies then use DSPs to buy the ad inventory, which fits hand in hand with the SSPs where the inventory is managed and sold. These transactions all happen in the blink of an eye and then enable publishers to surface the advertisements through various channels like web, app, connected TV, and out of home. Every step of this process is informed by a foundational data layer. All of the players need to understand who their target audience is. Who are they? What are their online and offline behaviors, their demographic profiles? Where are they spending their time, their money? Where should you meet them to serve advertisements that have the best chance of conversion? Having high-quality geospatial data, capturing the correct attributes and updating them quickly to identify changes in them, like Safegraph's POI dataset does, enables advertisers to perform a number of use cases with optimal performance. First and foremost, POI data provides a contextual understanding of where a location are, what's nearby to it, and their physical boundaries and footprints to support highly accurate geofencing and visit attribution. From there, we see advertisers leverage these insights to build highly targeted audiences and then plan effective campaigns. Ultimately, these are all pieces of a puzzle of a comprehensive out-of-home or digital out-of-home strategy. Today, we'll be talking more specifically about where Mobsta fits into this at the intersection of campaign planning and audience building, and how they and others have been adjusting their approaches as cookies go away, and specifically for Mobsta, how they've been doing it in a more sustainable, responsible way. I'll now turn it over to Jack to talk more about it.
Super. Cheers. Sorry. Hi there. Yeah, so I'm Jack. I'm product director at Mobsta. And we work with some of the biggest brands and agencies to deliver geocontextual cross-channel campaigns. So that's geocontextual is harnessing the power of geospatial data to deliver advertising to people in the right place, the right time, and therefore in the right mindset. And we do that across channels, so digital out of home, connected television, mobile, desktop, and we do that across formats, so display, video, and audio. As a B Corp, we take a uniquely sustainable approach to advertising. And as part of that, we work with data in the most granular way we can to minimize wastage, which boosts the ROI for our clients, and it also makes us a decarbonizing business. So as you're all probably aware, there's been an increased demand from consumers or people, which we sometimes call them in advertising, for more control over their personal data. And this has been complemented by stricter regulations like GDPR. So all industries are having to change the way in which they manage personal data, and advertising is no exception, with the reliance on cookies diminishing, and we're looking to more like alternative technologies and innovations in content analysis, first-party data gathering and analysis techniques, and also new opt-in identification solutions. And that's exactly where geospatial data sits in, helping us reach consumers based on their geographical context without the need for cookies And by embracing these new technologies, we can have we can still deliver impactful and engaging advertising, but in a more trustful marketing landscape. So I'm going to go through a couple examples of the sort of work that we do at Mobsta, but everything that we do is underpinned by anonymous, location-centric data. So we add context to every single area of the country so that we can help our advertisers target their campaigns to maximize the relevance of them. So a quick one here from Toyota. So we worked with Toyota when they were adding a new all-electric vehicle to their range, identify where to target. So working with Safegraph points of interest data, we analysed areas that were in high proximity to those dealerships, relevant dealerships. And then on top of that, we overlaid sort of a two-pronged approach. So first of all, we looked at car ownership data. So identifying areas where we saw electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles, like higher ownership of those, but also lower when it came to Toyota models. And then the second approach, we looked at areas that maybe we didn't see electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles being owned to that larger extent, but using property data, we were able to find those areas where the barrier to entry in terms of owning electric vehicles was lower. So, for example, areas where we see more large garages or driveways. We've also worked similar style campaigns, but for very different products. So we worked with Dulux, for example, identifying using Safegraph points of interest data, areas that are in that were near relevant stores, whether that be Dulux stores or competitor stores, where we had seen people recently move home. So obviously buying something like paint is of more interest to those than your average consumer. And just a last example here, so working with a national footwear brand, again using Safegraph points of interest data, finding areas within proximity to relevant stores, and then overlaying panel-based intent data as well as transaction data to identify those hotspots within proximity to those stores. They're not only over-indexed in terms of intent to purchase relevant products, but also had a recent history of doing so as well. And just to finish up here, it's important stat that, and maybe surprising stat to some of you, but digital advertising is responsible for roughly 2% of global CO2 emissions, and that's roughly on par with the aviation industries. So it's important at Mobsta that we don't shy away from sort of uncomfortable statistics like this, but we also know that every industry has an impact when it comes to CO2 emissions, but it's what we do about it that really counts. So industries like aviation, digital advertising also have a large contribution, but so does fashion and so does automotive, like in some of the examples that I've shown you. And the relevance here is that accurate geospatial data is a core part of how we try and minimize that. So by working with brands like Safegraph, we're able to use the most accurate data possible to minimize the wastage of our campaigns. We then couple this with our Greenlight carbon calculator to optimize the format mix of what we use to reduce the overall weight of the campaign that we serve while still hitting those campaign objectives. We upweight towards certain publishers, and we then address and offset any residual emissions to ensure that every campaign that we run is in fact carbon negative overall, which is fundamentally part of who we are and our identity as a B Corp. We need to be doing everything that we can to make our campaigns as sustainable as possible and us as a business as sustainable as possible. So it's just a quick run through as to like who Mobsta are, what sort of work that we do, how we use geospatial data, and why accuracy is so important for us when it comes to achieving our mission as a business. So check out our website if you want to find out more, come chat to me afterwards as well. Thanks Safegraph for having us join you today. And yeah, thanks a lot guys. Cheers.